Security expert and CEO of the security firm Beacon Consulting, Dr. Kabir Adamu, joins us now. Good to see you, Dr. Kabir Adamu. Very, very troubling, I mean, to any bystander or onlooker that a capital city like the FCT, of course, including the satellite towns, are so vulnerable to the activities of criminals, kidnappers, bandits. Those that are referred to euphemistically as one chance. All manner of crimes are being committed in Abuja. What do you think is responsible for this level of vulnerability?
Thank you, Ngozi and Suleiman. Happy New Year to you. In simple terms, it's the inability of the security arrangement that has been put in place to identify, prevent, and then to penalize those offenders. In simple criminology, where offenses occur in the manner that they are occurring, and then there is no adequate or commensurate measures to arrest or identify first, arrest, and then penalize them, the likelihood is that they are going to continue. And I would like to extend this conversation to the earlier conversation you had regarding corruption and then the action by the president to suspend a minister. I'm very worried about where we are in our Nigeria, as it were. Are we prioritizing money over human lives? Your reporter alluded to the fact that at least about 300 Nigerians may have been abducted within the FCT in 2023, and about between, depending on what database you use, between 60 and 80 may have been abducted. And as far as I know, Ngozi or Suleiman, you correct me, not a single person has been held accountable for that. Your report talked about the Plateau state, where about 200 persons were killed till date. Not a single person has been held accountable. Are we prioritizing money over human lives? If we can pressure the government, as it were, to take action on a minister because of a suspected misappropriation, why are we not pressuring government to take action over this? Everybody that I have spoken to, I mean, I'm removing myself, I'm an expert, but even the average layman on the street will agree to the fact that security is deteriorating in the country. So why are we not seeing commensurate action being taken by the government in the manner that was taken for money that was misappropriated? In simple terms, that's the reason why security is deteriorating in the country. No accountability within the security sector.
Well, I think if we stretch this, it would mean quite a plethora of issues, Kabir, because as soon as we painted this is the FCT, and if everywhere, if we're getting to see more like a creep into the seat of power, it tells a bad narrative. Perhaps. What exactly do you think we're not getting right? If we're talking about accountability, which you highlighted earlier on, I know the Beacon has just also released its reports not too long ago. What are we missing out?
The root causes of the security challenges are not being addressed. And I can quickly talk about them. The criminal justice system that is failing to arrest and punish offenders. Some issues around climate change that is exacerbating conflict, traditional conflicts that we know, including the farmer-hazard violence that has now metamorphosed into different other components of crisis. Then, of course, the economic challenge within the country. Since this government came, and the removal of subsidy, as well as the attempt to, as it were, float the Naira. Unfortunately, we've seen several economic challenges. Companies are shutting down, and this has put a lot of people into the unemployment market. Drug addiction, then the inability of local government system to be operational within the country. Of course, issues around the proliferation of small arms and light weapons. And I would like to talk a little bit about this. A few days ago, you hosted an individual on Arise TV who came and told the world that his organization is operating without presidential accent. In other words, till date, we do not have a functional platform for mopping up small arms and light weapons. There are two platforms that are currently operating: a center in the Office of the National Security Advisor, and then this other national commission that is yet to receive presidential accent, as it were. And, we've got a problem of weapons proliferation, but we do not have a platform for retrieving those weapons and the other people. And we're still moving on as if nothing is wrong. So these are some of the reasons really why where we are. But on top of all of this, really the accountability element that I've mentioned. In the FCT, there's a security committee that meets on a monthly basis. Every time they meet, they discuss these issues, but then we do not see, security is not all that difficult. There are about 5 or 6 layers in every good security arrangement. The ability to deter, to detect, to deny, delay, and then to respond, and then of course to recover. Once you have these 6 elements in every security system, then that system is likely to be effective. I've asked myself, where are those elements that we have in the FCT or in other states, as well as at the federal level? We've just spoken about the border areas within the FCT, where, for instance, even in that person that was interviewed, the kind of intelligence that person could reveal if he's interrogated, I would have been very happy if Ferdinand had asked him if he was debriefed by any of the security agencies. So intelligence is lying there, but I do not think it's being harvested. And the security committee, like I said, it meets, but the same thing happens almost on a monthly basis. Once we do not have an audit that seeks to identify the 6 things that I've mentioned and then put them in place in a manner that makes them effective and efficient, then I'm sorry to say that's how it will continue.
And you talk about arms proliferation earlier. Let's talk about that argument as to whether Nigerians have the right to, protect themselves by, being given the right to bear arms. I mean, there's an argument for and against. So where do you stand on that? Is it likely to be a good way forward to at least, reduce these crimes to a barest minimum?
So we have a Weapons Act, and our Weapons Act puts the authority or the responsibility for the issuance or the deciding who should own, a weapon on the president, as it were. Then there are other recognized authorities that the Constitution has recognized as authorities that can bear weapons. Now, for the Weapons Act, there are certain criteria that if you are not within that segment that has been recognized by the Constitution, that you can go and obtain a weapon. And there are also categories of weapon that are allowed under that Weapons Act. However, we know that for some time now, that authority by the president that has been delegated to the Inspector General of Police, there has been, as it were, a suspension of the issuance of those licenses, and for good reason. I think the police has not put in place a very good system for acquisition of the data, as well as the profiling of individuals that were issued those licenses in the past. And for some reasons, it's not been able to do that up to now. So I understand the fact that there's a suspension of the issuance of those licenses. So that's from the constitutional or legal side. If we go, however, to the operational side where we are at the moment, there is no part of this country that you do not have one or the other form of vigilante that is not holding some form of weapons. Then, of course, you've got individuals in their millions probably that are also in possession of these weapons. As far back as we're in 2024 now, I think it was in 2021 that my consultancy did a survey. We were able to determine that there are up to 6.7 million weapons in circulation in Nigeria against the about 1.3 million that are in the hands of law enforcement agencies. So even in simple arithmetics, the ratio of the number of weapons that are in the hands of non-state actors to the state actors is much, much higher. It's an existential challenge that needs to be addressed. And sooner than later, the 10th Assembly and the executive arm of government need to put in place a platform to mop up these weapons.
Right.
We are going to get support from the United Nations, from multilateral bodies across the world to assist us in doing this, but we need that platform, like yesterday.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kabir Adamu, Beacon Consulting, joining us tonight on Newsnight.